podcast. I am Melissa Matheson, and February is here. I heard the groundhog didn't see a shadow this week, so it looks like spring will be making an early arrival. I would like just one really good snow here in northwest Alabama before spring officially comes. What's that you say? It doesn't snow in Alabama? Oh, my friend, we've had some pretty crazy wild snowfalls here over the years, and my friends in Hamilton know how to make snow day memories. So one really good snow day, and I will be ready for a new season. Speaking of change, I'd say the Camel's Coming would qualify as a season change. That's right, the Camel episodes are back. If you're new to our podcast community, our Wednesday conversations each week are with some of my married friends, talking about how they met, dated, and married, all inspired by a story in the Bible in Genesis 24, when Isaac sees his future wife riding over the hill on a camel, coming to meet him. The camels had brought him a wife. Today, my friends Cameron and Holly are here to tell us their story of how they met, and I was so surprised to hear a certain detail of their story I had not heard before. Originally from Indiana, Cameron and Holly have been married 23 years and have gone through some difficult things in their marriage, including the sudden loss of Cameron's parents early on in their marriage. This is a conversation you don't want to miss. So grab your coffee and join us at the table. We're talking about awkward dates, Reebok pumps, and full moons, not in the sky. Today on What's Next, God? Well, this is our first Camels Are Coming episode for
Thank you,
the
Jesus,
new
they've come.
year. So for people that are listening that might be kind of new to our podcast family, on Wednesdays, we do conversations based on the story in Genesis 24, where Isaac is meditating in the field. The father's servant has gone to find Isaac a wife, and he brings this beautiful woman, Rebecca, to Isaac on a camel. And we say the camels are coming. Just kind of been a thing. So on Wednesdays, we like to talk to our married people about how they met, dated, and married, their own camels are coming story. And you guys are the first one. Now in January, we took a little break and did something a little different. And every podcast, Monday and Wednesday, we were talking to single people for the month of January.
And they were awesome.
So I want to hear, as married people, because I was getting a little bit of feedback that you guys were kind of listening in on some of those, talk to our single people about January, what you thought of them.
My initial thought was, wow, had I been that aware as a single of everything around me and my emotions about being single, and like just so much wisdom. Much wisdom.
Yes.
Like I was just really astonished, honestly, because usually as a married person and someone that's been married for a long time, you look at a single person and your tendency is to be like, oh, they're not going to understand that until they're married. Or no, they get it. They get it.
They get it, and they get it really well.
Yeah. Yes.
I was just blown away. I had this proud moment, these are my friends.
Yes.
And they are smart.
So smart.
They are wise, and they are doing this well. They are living life, navigating relationships in healthy community, thriving in jobs and in businesses. I mean, they're doing it, and I was just so proud. I was so excited to celebrate all of them. And I knew that in the beginning, but then as they started talking, I'm like, oh man, you guys, if I had known that at your age, oh my. Yeah.
I love the candidness of how, candid they were to what was going on around them. I loved it. And, if people would actually get that as singles and were able to, strive off of what they were saying and they were able to accomplish so far, then, Lord only knows how they will be.
What about us as married people?
Yeah.
Because candid. Yeah. Things we have going on in our life. Wow. Yeah. How different would we be?
Yeah.
So, because they were speaking candidly about just things going on in their life and revelation they were receiving from the Lord about it. And they were talking about it from a place of victory. You know, like, this is what I am going through and I am overcoming. And this is what God is doing in me. And they were just okay to say that. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even just as married couples, as singles, as teenagers, just solid people to look up to.
Yeah.
And to hope that you have that wisdom
Yeah.
to grow from, honestly. So smart.
There's hope for our kids. They're
Yes.
like going, yes, the testimony of Jesus in all of their lives is the spirit of prophecy
Yes.
over mine. I want my
Amen.
children to be just like that.
Yeah.
When they're that age.
Definitely.
So great. We're coffee drinkers. We had a little coffee conversation just before we started recording about your house is split now.
Yes.
Tell me about this split in your home over coffee.
Some want French press, some want pour over.
Oh.
I personally do not like pour over.
You're not a pour over girl.
It's too weak for
Okay.
me. I think I need a little strength in there.
I wonder if changing the coffee, the type of coffee you're
Maybe.
using, might help.
Maybe.
Are we naming names? Who are the pour over and who are the French press people?
I would say Cam and Isaac are the pour overs and me and Noah are the French press people.
Talk to me about pour over then, Cam.
Well, it's a newfound thing. I got my little Chemex or whatever you want to call it for Christmas from Noah.
Yeah.
And I've just started learning how to do it. So maybe that might be part of it. I don't know.
It's still new.
It's still new. So I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. But, it's just, it's amazing. During the week, I just do the regular drip coffee. So, and then, for the drive to Tupelo. And then usually, Saturdays is our family day, basically. And we always have,
Pull out the pour over on Saturday.
pour over and
It's actually
French
kind of
press.
funny. I did an Instagram poll and it was pretty equally divided.
Oh,
So-
who wants French press and who wants pour over?
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. So
Well, we have both at our house. We have everything, actually. Well, I'll tell you what we don't have. We don't have a drip coffee maker.
we just have a little one.
Yeah, we just don't. We have the Keurig. We have the French press. We have the pour over. Oh, we don't have the stovetop percolator. Okay, so we're not. We don't have. We have a few things.
That's,
We're not.
that's too fancy for me.
Is that way too fancy for you?
It's too much work. But I'll tell you, our 14-year-old is the one. That child would drink coffee all day. He recently discovered it. He wants it in the morning. He wants it after school.
What's crazy is
So he's wasting so much coffee because he'll make
Yeah.
a whole pot because he doesn't know the measurement.
Bless his
And then just dump the rest.
Hey, he needs to start putting it in the fridge.
Yes, for
and then
cold
just
brew.
doing
Yes.
him some iced coffee.
Well, he's our picky one too. So he doesn't like certain foods. He doesn't like any kind of condiments on his food. He doesn't like any of that stuff. And for him to be that picky and then
Like
coffee, it's just kind of weird to us. I mean,
Yeah,
it
we're
just
like,
doesn't
what's happening?
add up.
Hey,
But whatever.
hey, coffee. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's
He's too sophisticated for ketchup, but he'll drink coffee.
actually me too, bud. I'm not a ketchup girl either. I give me coffee all day long. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your family. You have two sons. How old are they?
Noah's 18, getting ready to graduate. Isaac is 14. Actually, on Wednesday, he'll be 15.
Oh, wow.
And yeah,
Two boys.
two boys.
You are okay. So if you have been with the podcast since the beginning, Holly has already been here before and talked to us a lot about a lot of things. You need to go look it up. I'll link her last episode in the show notes for people to listen and kind of get connected with a little bit of your story. But you have two sons, and but I wanted to bring you and Cam back specifically to talk to me about how you met, dated, and married. Grew up in Indiana, but in the same town or no?
Sort of. He was in a little town, kind of like if you were in Chicago, it'd be like a suburb of Kokomo.
Okay.
So
Kind
Rushville.
of like Hamilton
Yes.
compared to Tupelo.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you weren't raised knowing each other then. Y'all didn't meet until high school, right?
Well, actually,
Tell me the story.
We somehow we knew each other in 3rd and 4th grade. I actually signed his 4th grade yearbook.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
What?
Yes. When we got married, I discovered it and I was like, that's my name. And I had an unusual last name. It was spelled Keown. So no one else has that last name. So I knew that was my signature. I happened to, in one of my mom's moves, go to his school for a year and a half.
Were y'all in the same grade?
Yes, we were in the same grade. I think we were in the same class.
Yeah.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
But you don't remember each other.
I don't know. We talk a little bit about things that we did. I remember as a kid that I would always play with the boys. That doesn't sound good, but
I know what you mean.
We would
Hot Wheels.
We would
were
draw
kids. Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
these little paper roads on paper and play Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
And he remembers doing that. So we had to have done that together.
So somewhere in 3rd or 4th grade, you guys were in the same
Yes.
class at school and don't remember it.
No, don't remember it whatsoever.
What on earth? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. really.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Tell that to the grandkids one day.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So when do you remember meeting?
Right after high school.
Yeah.
So we graduated in June of 95 and in end of September of 95, we started working at the same place.
Okay.
And I was actually dating someone. He was dating someone. It wasn't like that necessarily. I do remember thinking he's cute.
Oh, you did.
And eventually, as we became friends, we both sort of silently knew. And so we just separately broke off what was happening with other people. And we were like, you want to go out? Like, I don't know. It was just like this weird knowing. Like, I knew I wanted to go out with him, but I was kind of in a place of, I don't want anything serious. I don't want anything serious. I just want to have fun.
Yeah, what'd you think of the camp? You really
Well, I
liked
thought
her.
she was hot. So, I mean, but she was,
Spoken like a true 18-year-old.
yeah. We started talking and started getting to know each other a little bit, just by, casual conversations at work, and stuff.
He was just so nice.
Yeah.
Like different nice.
Right.
I don't know how to explain it other than that.
Just a different nice.
He just was a kind person. Like,
Yeah.
I could tell that he, like when we would talk, he was actually listening to me. Or even with other people, he just really cared about everybody around him. I mean, so much so that even people at work just talked so highly about him. And we worked at a grocery store. It wasn't like we worked somewhere special, but
Yeah.
people at work knew he was a nice person.
That's probably my Enneagram too.
Yes.
that was probably what was coming out
That
at that
helper
time.
in you.
the helper
Yes.
and-
So, yeah.
Anyway, but yeah.
I just fell for the nice guy.
You just fell for the nice guy. Hey, I did too.
Yeah. My mom actually said when I brought him home for the first time.
Hey, not your nice guy, my nice guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we probably should.
My Enneagram 5. I fell for him.
As Dave shakes his head over
He's your
there.
nice guy.
And my mom was like, "You're going out with him?" And I was like, "Yes." And she was like, "He's nothing like you've ever brought home before."
See,
Like-
same.
Yeah.
All
She
right,
was
so
stunned.
girls listening, it's going to be the one that's different than the one. It's just not the one.
When you say you have a type, it's not
You
true.
really don't. And it's going to be the one that you wouldn't have picked.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be the one
I'm so
that's
glad.
gonna win your heart.
And literally, they say opposites attract, and we are totally opposite.
We are totally
Are you?
opposite.
Yeah, like
See, I wouldn't have thought that
Legitimately.
about you now. I guess
Oh,
after
no,
how
when-
many? How long have you been married?
It'll be 23 years in July.
23
Yeah.
years. Oh,
we've been married longer than we were single.
yeah.
Yes, praise God.
Crossed over. So you brought him home, and your mom's like, "Oh, he's so nice. That's not who you normally date."
Yeah, well, I will. I'm going to tell this story because it is like the cornerstone of our relationship.
First, before we do that, October 21st of 95 was our first date. So that's
Okay.
So
That's an important day
that's
to
an
Cameron. He brings it up every year.
So
Yes.
literally, it is an anniversary. I mean,
Okay.
So we celebrate anniversaries multiple times. So
Me and Dave do too.
so
He gets really annoyed that I don't
she doesn't
celebrate
care
it as
about
much.
it. And
I'm just
I'm
kind of
like,
like,
that's our
it's
first.
just a day. He's like, no.
That's the day everything changed. You
That is
didn't
exactly
know
right.
it when
True.
it happened,
It is exactly right.
but you know it now, and
Yes.
we're gonna look back and celebrate it.
That's right.
Well, on that particular day,
The first date,
no.
we were going to
No.
go out.
Was it the first date?
Oh, yeah.
10/21.
We went to Indianapolis.
Okay. October 21st.
Okay. so
Which
we went to the big
Indianapolis is a
city.
town that's 45 minutes or so south of where we were.
Okay.
And my mom specifically said, now I was 18 at the time, but I still lived in their house, so it was still follow their rules.
Yes.
And my mom was like, do not go out of town. Do not go with this young man out of town. I said, okay. But when he got there, he was planning to take me to Indianapolis, and my dad just said, okay, my mom wasn't there.
Okay. But your dad knew.
Yeah, my dad knew.
Okay.
But my mom was a little irritated, I think. And when we got back, I knew my mom was probably going to be upset about this. When we got back, she didn't really say a lot. They went on to bed, and he and I sat down there talking. And I want to say it was 2 or 3 in the morning, and I hear my mom get up from her bed. And she not yells, but just kind of talks down the stairs and says, Holly, it is time. Because it was like 2 or 3 in the morning at this point. And she
Oh,
was like,
my.
why is he still at my house? I have never even met him.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you probably better go, So he goes on his way, and she comes down the stairs to have words with me. And she was like, I'll be right back. I'm going to the restroom. And she goes to the restroom, but he left the toilet seat up.
Oh, no.
So that was her first impression of Cameron.
So I don't live that down every time,
You go,
it's brought up.
yeah.
Oh, she brings that up regularly. And he's never left the toilet seat up since. So I'm so thankful for that.
One time was enough.
Yeah. It's
And that was it.
plenty. If you would meet
Yeah.
Miss Teresa Maureen, you
Yes.
would know.
Yes.
She definitely made him aware, like, not only did you break the rule,
You left the toilet
you left
seat
the
up.
toilet seat up.
Yeah, see, I'm so glad that I was dating Dave when I was like a grown up. Like the pressure of,
Yes.
bringing him. Yes, that would have been too
Yeah.
much. I just couldn't have done it.
And I was a lot to handle at 18. So really the pressure at 18.
Was she,
Oh
Cam?
my goodness. You don't even know.
Now, did y'all know Jesus then? Were we saying?
Yes.
We
Knew
said
of
we
Jesus,
were.
went to
I mean, I
church.
grew up in church.
Grew up in church. Okay. But still a little wild.
Yeah, that would be a good word for it. Probably.
Yes.
That's a good word.
And mouthy.
Ooh.
So mouthy.
Is she still that way though, Cam? Okay, no, wait, don't answer that.
I would say
She
no,
is-
not near
she
as
is
much.
a lot better. I mean, they're
I've kind of turned a page. I'm
has.
less
Yeah.
mouthy and just more upfront.
yeah.
So when she says that she was too much, what did you think about her, Cam? Did you think she was too much, or did you
I
like her
loved it.
just the way she is? Perfect.
I loved it because-
that's what I wanted to know. Because she can think she's one thing, but you think that that's
But
great.
the thing is I was living vicariously through her. That was the thing. Because I could not do
Go,
half this stuff.
baby,
That's
go.
right. There's many a times I'd be like, hey, when we first got married, like there would be, somebody calling about a bill or something. And, I'd be like, okay, here you go. You take care of this. And I'd just sit there and I'd be like, just an anxious little kid watching her just like take care of this thing,
That's
because
hilarious.
she has a way with words. Like literally, I feel like that sometimes when things are more stressful or something, in certain situations that my tongue, I can't get the words out the way I want to.
Yeah.
And she, by all
Can just
means,
do
can
it.
just like
I thrive under the stress.
vomit like crazy.
The anointing.
It's amazing.
her.
It is
I'm
amazing.
sort of embarrassed by it a little bit.
Don't
But
be. I mean, like you said, you've totally changed. Back then, it was like,
I didn't have
my
a
goodness.
filter
No,
then.
she didn't.
And I didn't have a wait a minute, I need to stop and think for
I
a
was
second.
that way, yeah.
And now it's more like, okay, let me just process this for a second, and then I'm just going to say the honest truth about whatever it is.
But when you can do that, there's a certain amount of authority that we can speak with when we use wisdom with our words, then it can come out. So it's actually a gift. It's actually a strength in you to be able to do that, because then now your words can carry weight with
True.
what you
Right.
say, because you have this confidence in being able to say it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not afraid to say things.
I think also with age and, just the experience behind it.
Right.
She is, and, obviously the Lord has totally changed her in the sense of that, you know what I mean? Just like, she would blow up at the drop of a dime, you know what I mean? And just, depending on what it was. And then now it's like, it takes a lot, now. So, whereas my role reversal, there's things that happens now.
He gets a little fire in it.
Oh
now.
my goodness. But I think it's kind of rubbed off, what I mean? In a sense, after.
So she balances you and you balance her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you weren't wanting anything serious. You just liked him. Nice guy, Holly. And then, but Cam, you were all in.
Oh, yeah. I was all in. After that first day, after talking for so long and everything, I literally was all in. The second date, I told her, I said, I will marry you and I do love you. And,
And what did you say, Holly?
I said, don't tell me that again unless I tell you it's okay, which totally tells of my controlling side. I was like, I think I said, don't ever say that again unless I tell you it's okay. And I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. I gave him this whole list of things that wasn't going to happen. And I was like, we're just going to have fun. Like, why would you say that? And I was almost offended by the fact that look at me now.
You were
I love this man.
Was there any part of you, though, that deep down inside kind of maybe liked it, but you just didn't want him to know that? No, you really did.
I
You
really
felt that in every bit of you.
Maybe deep down somewhere, but I was unaware of it.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of fear of.
If there's going to
It's
be
hard to
rejection,
hear some.
it'll be me rejecting you.
Don't tell me you love me if you're not going to stay.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was so early, like 2 dates in, and he was telling his friends. He wasn't just telling me. And so that felt very daunting to me. Like,
did y'all have similar friends or did you have separate friend groups?
Separate.
totally separate.
Totally separate.
Yeah.
When did that merge or did it ever at all?
It never merged.
It never merged.
Well, he merged with my friends,
Yeah.
but his friends sort of had this little rule within their circle. They kind of all dated each other, and they really did not like that he stepped out of the circle. That was a huge problem for a while.
It was a church group
broke
that we were
the
in.
box.
And
Yes.
it was just, we're
I am
fine very
now.
appreciative with that because that's how I literally got to church. I mean, I was go to church maybe on Christmas, maybe on Easter type of guy. You know what I mean? That's what mom and dad did. And so these people are really what got me to go into church,
yeah.
And then, excuse me. And then meeting her family is like all in with church, and things. So once
I'm thinking about the first service that you ever came
I
to
knew
my church.
what you were thinking. So the first service that I went to with her was a falling out service on a Wednesday
everybody
night.
was just falling out.
And
okay.
I was going to a Baptist church at the time that would play one song. You stood up for the song, then you sat down. They would speak. They'd play another song. You'd stand up. So it was kind of like that,
Yes.
Whereas when I went to
They're not
her,
sitting and standing; they're falling.
yes, they were falling, and I was like, "What is happening with these people?"
Let's just so that was his first service.
Yeah, you tell them your first.
But I went to his church for the first time, and it was a Sunday evening service, and they did one song. No one stood, no one clapped, no one did anything. And they had brought in a funeral director to tell you how to prepare for
In case
your last days. And I was like, if this isn't the definition of a dead church.
And here we are. We're teenagers.
I don't know what it is. Like,
sitting in here watching this, and it's like
it was totally different churches.
I was planning on proposing on this on
And I knew
the anniversary of October 21st,
Sure of
96.
it.
She knew.
Yeah.
She just didn't know when it was happening. So in southern Indiana, there's a little Nashville,
Brown County
area. It is just little quaint shops, and then they have a state park. In the same town. It's real hilly. I mean, it looks a lot like down here,
like Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was the date. We went down there and we rode horses, and we went to the state park and rode horses.
It was a terrible experience.
Do you like horses?
Not really.
Not really, but I thought it was kind of
Especially
neat.
now.
It was a first
It was
experience.
romantic.
It was.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was supposed to be like. And then so we start riding these horses, and of course there's an instructor, and there's several horses that are involved. She's in front of me, and we start going, and all of a sudden her horse just stops. Doesn't want to do anything. And so the instructor gets off her horse and comes back and gives her a stick and says that, keep this stick with you, and just if it stops, just whack it on its rear. Mm-hmm. So she did it. As soon as she got the stick, the horse knew. So the horse was great the whole time until
I was like, well,
she's like, I don't need this stick anymore. So she throws the stick down. The horse must have saw that. And as soon as she did that, it stopped and did not move whatsoever again. The instructor gets off her horse, comes back and reams her.
Yeah.
And
she was
says,
like, are you an idiot?
Are you an idiot?
I was like, okay.
And knowing Holly and knowing her mouth, I was thinking, oh no. My gosh, we're going to get kicked off this trail. I mean, we're going to have to walk back, But needless to say, she gives her a stick, and she kept her mouth.
I did.
And
good.
So it was awkward in the sense that her horse had major gas.
Oh.
And every
was stinking
step
the whole trail out.
would
like, I was like, this
So
is
here this
supposed to be romantic.
This was not blossoming.
Yes, this romantic thing was supposed to be great.
He was so
But
frustrated.
Holly gets yelled at.
Gets yelled at, and her horse just doesn't stop flatulence.
It was terrible.
We didn't propose on the horses, though.
No,
did
we did not.
We took
No.
it somewhere
We
else.
went to actually Outback. That was our first date. Literally, we went to Outback in Indy, and so that's where we went. Now, I was going to propose in the
and
restaurant.
I was expecting it at the restaurant.
Because this was the last stop on the way home. So
Okay.
we were going to, we stopped and had supper, and I was going to do it there. But then I looked around and I'm like, I don't want any of these people to be involved in this
So a
romantic
last-minute decision.
personal thing.
Yeah.
So we leave. And we get in the car, and I'm in the parking lot still, and I'm getting ready to drive, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I forgot something in the back seat. So I put the car in park, went around to the passenger side.
Now, he had a two-door.
I had a two-door.
Oh, okay.
And I had to push the seat up to get the ring.
She's sitting in.
Yes.
Okay.
Got the ring, and then I went down on one knee right there.
At the car. In the
My
parking
seat was
lot.
still leaning forward.
Yes. So it was pretty impressive.
Were you nervous?
Oh yes, I was definitely nervous, but I knew knew this was what I wanted, and this is what I knew. This was it. This was
it.
She was the one. You know what I mean? So
When he was reaching in the back seat, did you think he's getting a ring?
Oh, no, I was mad at that
she was
point.
mad.
You were mad because he didn't propose
Oh, yeah.
at the restaurant.
He didn't propose. It's freezing because it's October in Indiana.
I was thinking about that when you were riding horses. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it was
It was
cold.
beautiful though, because
Okay.
the trees, the leaves are all like
God.
Orange.
Oh,
I
can
mean
see that.
orange and yellow and red.
It is
and
beautiful down there that time of
It's
year.
so amazing.
I
Anyways,
could see that.
Yeah.
So in the parking lot, he proposes. Did he say anything special that...
No, I don't think
Just
so.
that
I don't even
Remember?
remember what I said.
See, a lot of people don't remember.
I do remember saying, why didn't you do this in the restaurant? He said, because I didn't want those people sitting at the table next to us involved.
There you go.
And I was like, okay.
She thought I was an idiot at the time because I was pushing her seat up and
like,
she
what
was
is
eating
happening?
the dash and all that stuff. So, with the words, I'm already on one knee, what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got the ring in my hand. Is there anything else that I needed to say?
It was almost like you did that on purpose. Like, you had to open the car door. You had to get on
I
a
had
knee
thought about that.
to get a ring.
Yeah, so
first date, October 21st. A year later, a marriage proposal. When did we have a wedding?
July 12th.
Oh, okay. Not too far. And you got married in Indiana. Mm-hmm. Tell me something that has been difficult for you guys to navigate in marriage. Has there been something that was a challenge for you in getting married?
For me, probably my attitude, my stubbornness.
Yeah.
my wanting to control everything, I had to learn how to trust him. That was hard for me. And not that I didn't trust him. It was just, I felt like if I held on to everything and just took care of it all, I knew we would be okay. And and it kind of took away that head of household. I need him to...
Give me an example, something specific.
Money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Money is the big thing. When you first get married, money is...
We had totally different upbringings. You know, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. I never felt like we were poor. We always had what we needed, but I didn't grow up with parents that had lots of money. He did.
Okay.
They paid cash for cars. And so he had no concept of even writing a check.
Yeah.
And I had been paying my own bills for a while. So that was a challenge. Yeah. Because he loved to shop.
I loved spending money.
He did love spending money.
I loved it.
Because you were just used to having it and not having restrictions.
When we got together, 8 bags of clothes that it wasn't like it was Tommy Hilfiger. It was Carhartt. It was I was like all over the place. Don't judge me. But like literally my style was like horrible. But anyways, we would go to on a date. We'd go to outlet malls and
he'd spend $500.
I'd drop.
No big deal.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah.
I loved shopping. And
so you had to reel that in, and that made you nervous, Holly.
It made me very nervous.
Used to spending.
Yeah. And we've had our struggles with money and, finances, but I feel like we're in a really good place. And
how did y'all communicate about that? Did you have to just finally... Cam, did you have to say something to her like, Holly, you're going to have to...
We got
sort of hit rock bottom. Yeah. We ended up, if we're going to be vulnerable, we ended up going to a credit counselor and we had to get credit cards under control. And that was early in our...
It was...
Like we were probably 27, 28.
Yeah.
And my mom got involved and really got us on a good path. And so
I think that is what is lacking today in school. I really do is, they teach you how to write a checkbook, but they don't teach you how to balance it. You know what I'm saying? They don't teach you that if you do this, if you save there was something I can't remember where it was, but if you save $5 back for however many years, you'd be a millionaire within a certain amount of time.
Because of compound interest.
Yes, and so people don't know that, and going into it, especially when you love to spend money and you see that money going out like at home, easily. Yeah. And my dad was pretty frugal. But my mom would hide a lot of things from him because, whatever. Anyways, so, we'd always have the best shoes. We'd always, back in the day, the Reebok pumps and all that good stuff. Oh man. Yeah. It was good stuff. Anyways, so yeah, it does. Yeah. That's awesome. That's why I brought it up. Telling my age. Anyways, but yeah, I think that is, I think with the schooling, I think that is one of the things, with the high school and things like that, I believe that personally, that if more people were taught how to deal with money, that I feel like a lot of the problems in the world would have been fizzled out at the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or even if as parents, we properly taught our children.
That is correct. Yeah.
But in order for us to do that, we have to have a right thinking ourselves on it, or we're not able to teach our children properly. Bryson Blair Miller did an episode with us, and that was one of the things that they talked about when they got married. They wish they had had a money conversation before the wedding.
I 100% agree.
In premarital counseling, started talking about budgeting, and this is what our budget's going to look like based on your debt, my debt, your income, my income, your bills, my bills, that we have that are going to come together, because she said that was a big surprise for them when they got married and had to start talking about money. Yeah. So
because really, until you actually are living it, you don't think about that thing. You think about your significant other, and that's, a lot of times that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until you actually are living life.
Well, it's not like when you're dating a girl either that you want to be like, I can't afford that tonight.
Right.
You want to lavish on them, and be romantic and buy the flowers and
and I've always been the type of person that, and I always say it now, she is my queen.
Yes.
And I'm the king. And I take care of her no matter what. She wants me to rub her feet, I'm rubbing her feet. She wants me to put lotion on her feet, I'm going to do it. She is my queen. So for me not to be able to, and my number 2 coming out, for me not to be able to buy her gifts, flowers, and give her things that I wanted to do really hurt me at the beginning because, not having enough money to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I had to come up with the balance of thinking, okay, it's not all about the money. It's not all about spending money on her. It's about the things that I do for her.
Yeah.
And so that's
That
a gift
don't cost
in
you
itself.
money.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And so that was a mentality thing that I had to switch in my head, and so now,
Yeah. The last time Holly was here, we talked a little bit about the difficulty for you guys to conceive and have kids.
Yeah.
So she talked to me a lot about what that journey was like for her. But did you have any thoughts about that? What was that like for you?
Seeing her hurt, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, but I always had the mindset that if the Lord wanted us to have him, he was going to let us have him.
Yeah.
I seen that it hurt her because everybody else around us was having kids and we were struggling. But we were going to do whatever the means necessary to be able to have kids. So if that meant, medically, if that meant whatever, that's.
Did you have anything inside of you that was hurting? Like you're wanting to take care of her, but did you have any thoughts like the strong desire for fatherhood, or was it more just about Holly and you wanting to meet a need into her?
At the time, I think it was just about her.
So if there's somebody listening right now, let's just say there's a husband and wife, they're trying to conceive and he is needing to encourage his wife. What did you do for Holly? Give some advice to somebody out there. Just what did you do? You just loved her?
Yes. I mean, I just listened and loved her through it. I mean, that's the only way you can do it. And she has to be able to come to terms with that. You know what I mean? Along with you, obviously. Inside there's probably, it depends on, the personalities and all that stuff. But me, I didn't really, I just had the feeling that the Lord was going to take care of that issue. You know what I mean? And she did too. But there comes a time when you start seeing everybody else around you, your cousins and things, people that aren't supposed to be having kids, and, and here we are trying to have kids and couldn't have them. So I felt exactly the way she felt in the sense, but I knew that was an issue that she was dealing with. So I was more,
he was just very supportive.
I was about to say, you had to be that pillar of strength for her that she needed because she just couldn't.
Well, and most people around us probably, especially listening to this, are probably like, oh, man, I didn't even know that because we didn't talk about it.
We didn't talk about it.
Okay.
Whatever was talked about was between the two of us.
Yeah.
If I was having a hard time, I didn't really share that with anyone. Mm-hmm. It was kept between us. So I really leaned on him. Yeah, and my mom.
Yeah.
But as far as our friends, I don't know how else to say it other than I didn't lay that burden on them because most of our friends were having babies. And I didn't want them to feel guilty. I didn't want them to think that I celebrated it less for them.
Yeah.
And so it really was kept a lot between us.
Which hurt a little bit more too. I mean, just because you couldn't really, she couldn't express it to her friends.
Right.
Because her friends were having babies.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine that probably one of the things that I'm seeing of significant value in this conversation is, Cam, your ability to walk through this with her discreetly and in a confidential way.
Yeah.
Like she could trust you because she knew you're going to just keep it right here between the two of you. And I think that that's a valuable thing that we can't take for granted either. Just the ability to be able to walk through something together without the need to have to broadcast it.
Yeah.
And that can be a difficult thing. We talked a little bit about family too. Can we talk a little bit about how your relationship was with in-laws? Was that a happy thing?
I can't really even say a bad thing about my in-laws, honestly. I love my in-laws. I mean,
Even in dating, was there, because now you were talking about your mom about the toilet seat with Cam. Did we ever get over that?
oh yes.
Okay.
Listen, my parents, they love Cameron. Like,
Okay.
and since his parents have passed, my parents take it very seriously to love him like their own. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, my mom refers to him as her son.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, of course we tease each other,
Yeah.
but
and then
my
his
love
parents
him.
were just amazing. You just, nothing wrong you could ever say about them.
They were the sweetest people. Now, I'm trying to even think how to describe his mom. Probably the best description of his mother would be Emmy Moore.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love Emmy.
I love Emmy Moore
the
as well.
lavishing of, I mean, once she, oh my
generosity.
Yes,
goodness.
and just
The
joy and
encouragement,
love.
the kindness.
That was his mom.
And so opposites attract. Remember me telling you that? So my dad, on the other hand, he worked midnights for 30 years. He was in bed all the time. But the
He could be a
grouchiest,
little grumpy.
He was the grouchiest, but I love that man to death because
Yeah.
he really
He was wonderful.
he taught me a lot, and there's a lot of things that that I look back now and I think, man, of course he's my stepdad. My real dad actually passed away in a car accident when I was 7 months old.
Okay.
So, and then they ended up passing away in 2001
in a car
accident, also on the same road, about a half mile away from each other.
Oh, wow. Okay. So your natural dad
Yeah.
passed away in a car accident when you
Yeah.
were 7 months.
Yeah,
How old were you when your mom remarried?
young.
Okay.
It was quick.
Yeah, it was
So,
quick after
so
that.
she marries, and then in 2001, how old were you? So you guys were already married.
We had just had Noah.
You
Yeah.
had just had your first child,
In
and then your
March,
mom
and then
and
August.
stepdad.
Yeah, we're in a car accident. A 16-year-old went off the road, overcorrected, and went head on into them. And dad ended up passing away first. And then mom was still alive for a little while after that. And then ended up passing away on the way to,
A couple hours after the
yeah.
accident. So
Where were you when that happened?
I was,
We were at work.
I was at work I was at church.
Yeah,
at
you were on
church.
staff at
I was
church
on
at that
sta-
time.
And thank goodness for that, I tell you. I mean, that
So you were
That was
24?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, Holly was actually at work also. She worked for a implement selling place, like
like you rent big machinery for
Yeah.
construction jobs, and I was the office manager
Yeah.
at the time, and the sales guys would go out and do their sales or whatever.
deliver
and
equipment.
It was about 11 o'clock that morning that it happened, and one of the sales guys came in and he was talking about this terrible accident he had seen. And I don't know what even about it, because he didn't describe the vehicle. He didn't say anything that would make me think that's my in-laws.
Did he say where it was? That's what I want.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But as he talked, I thought, I need to check on my in-laws. And I tried calling them all day long. No answer. And I even told Cam, I'm like,
This was
no.
before cell phones.
Yeah, this is before cell phones.
this is-
Oh,
yeah, I'm
okay. So
saying
you were calling their house.
Yeah.
Yes,
and-
they did not
okay.
have a cell phone. And I remember when I got home that night, I told Cam what I was thinking, and I just had an
Were y'all
uneasy-
living in the same town?
They still lived in his childhood home. We were about 10 minutes from there.
Oh, okay. Because your coworker saw the accident.
Yeah, they
Yes.
deliver in a big area.
In a big
so-
area. So we were supposed to go to my parents that night, and I remember I called my mom and I said, listen, I think something has happened. I'm not sure. I'm going to call the state police. I know we're on our way to your house, so I'm going to give them your number to call me back at. And I called the state police and I said, I heard about this accident. Can you tell me the names of who was in this accident? And state trooper or whoever answered said, "I'm sorry, we haven't released the names to the family yet. Give me your number. When we release the names, I'll call you back." And as I called my mom to tell her that I had done that, she said, "Hang on a second." And the state trooper's office ringed into her second line. And she got back on the phone and said, "I'm really sorry." So he was already in the car.
So you didn't find out till that evening?
No.
And it happened
was
that
hours.
morning?
They said they didn't know how to track us down, which is crazy. I don't even know how they couldn't. But
Yeah.
so I go out to the parking lot. We lived in an apartment at the time, and he had put Noah in the car. And I told my mom, I was like, "I don't want to tell him. I don't want to be the one that has to tell him. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not a memory that I want him to have of me doing."
Yeah.
And she was like, "You need to tell him before you come here." And so I did, and we went to my...
She didn't really even have to say anything.
Yeah,
She,
I
she
knew.
walked
Probably the
out.
look on my face.
Because we'd already been talking about it, and we'd already been, just kind of discussing it, just wondering, and trying to call them and
not being able to reach them.
and all that stuff. And as soon as she walked out with that blank face on, I mean, it's just like yesterday. I mean, I still see it today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was
Yeah.
very traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're the only child at that time, or was your brother?
My brother was still living with them also.
He was still
living with them. I was living in
Married
the
with her.
apartment. Yeah, married
Yeah.
with her.
Well, so he was younger.
Yeah, he was younger.
Yeah.
Well, he technically has two. He has two brothers.
Yeah.
When he said he has a step and a half, he has a step brother and a half brother.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
what I
So
meant.
Bob is
Bob is
older.
my stepbrother. He's older. And then Ryan is just a year younger than I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So I imagine that changed things quite a bit. That's like a sudden, you're just not expecting when things like that happen.
I think at 24, I just didn't think, like, in my mind, it's like, okay, I don't know how to plan someone's funeral. There was
Let
a
alone
whole
two.
layer of they didn't have
Yeah.
a will. They didn't have any of those
man.
preparations made. And so the brothers had to do that together. And thank goodness,
yeah.
I mean, the brothers were like a unit. There was no arguing.
Thank goodness for
there was
Bob
no
being
fighting.
the older one, because literally, my dad ended up passing away, which Bob was my dad's from his first marriage. Mm-hmm. And so when Dad passed away first, all this stuff went to Mom, which I was the eldest of Mom's kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it would
As soon as she passed, it became his
my responsibility.
Yeah.
But 24 and trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for an older
Yes.
sibling that was
Yeah.
able and willing to take on that responsibility
Yeah.
and be able to handle that. And, along the way, being there for us too,
And Noah had just been born. He was,
Yeah. Noah was born in March and they passed in August.
okay, just a few months.
Yeah.
How did you guys navigate that in your marriage? What was that like for you, Holly, to see? One, I know you grieved yourself because you loved them so much.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, there were times we did not navigate it well.
No.
Well, I don't know how you do. How do you do it well? I don't think anybody could do it well.
I sort of just got a determination in myself, like, I'm going to keep my emotions as wrapped up as I can because I need to
Take care of him.
help him.
Yeah.
And
You see how the role reversal happened? You know what I'm saying? Like even with,
Yeah.
with the kids and what I had to do. So, it's a two-way street. When you were married, you take on somebody else's burdens basically,
Yeah.
and to help them out. And anyway, the whole crying thing, like literally she would get on me because I could not cry anymore. You know what I mean? It was just one of those
Really?
things that my tears, and even to this day, I feel like that, there's times where, it just kind of hardened me a little bit, you know what I
Did
mean?
it?
In a sense, it took a while for that to kind of reside a little bit, just go away a little bit. But, I just still feel, in the back, there's just something there that, that just, I don't know.
It just kind of felt
It's
unresolved.
a part of you is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
A little
I feel like
incomplete.
that's, yeah.
And he was very close to his mom. He
I
was a mama's boy.
to the T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved her to death.
So I think
And-
there is, I think there is a piece missing for him sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there always is in a way. I don't know. I haven't quite had to deal with grief in that way, in such a very personal, direct way. But I would imagine when I am seeing people go through difficulty like that and loss, I never have this thought like you need to get over it and move on. I feel like there's just always going to be that part of you. I think we honor people when we can remember them. And I had somebody grieving one time say that what they needed most was for people to talk about it, because nobody wants to talk because they think you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so nobody wants to address that child they lost or that miscarriage they had or the loss of a family member because they don't want to hurt somebody by bringing it up. So they just don't talk about it. And a friend of mine that lost a child, she said, I need people to ask me about it.
Yeah. There were times that it was hard. I can remember one specific day, Noah's a newborn. We're in our apartment. Our entire surround of our apartment, all around our couch, was covered in flowers from the funeral. And I just remember calling my mom and I was like, you have to come over here. I need you to help me get these flowers out of here. I can't sit here with these any longer.
Yeah.
And we took them all to the dumpster, So there were hard days.
Literally, like right after the accident, we actually went to the house, and it was on a Thursday. And there's a little town about 20 minutes away from where Mom and Dad lived that used to have flea markets. Mom and Dad were big antique flea marketers. They loved their antiques and flea market stuff.
loved it.
Dad was a flea marketer. Mom loved the antiques. So Longaberger baskets, Fenton glass, all that good stuff. She was, you should have seen their house. That's all I have to say. Because you could hardly walk around because you would think they were hoarders because there was baskets inside a basket. Anyways,
Yes.
so
That's
like
what
I said,
baskets are for.
Yes.
so the lavish, the whole money thing, that's
Yes.
I get it very honestly from my mother.
Yes.
Anyway,
A
so
collector.
Yes.
I was.
Yeah, that's
I
what
was.
we'll call that.
Oh boy, it was
a nice word.
yeah. Anyway, so but when we showed up to the house walked into the garage, the washer and dryer
Washer and
was sitting
dryer.
there, and they had just been to this place called Strawtown, and that's where this flea market was, and
Just a pile of stuff for Noah.
of like Disney movies, and just toys, things just stacked up there that they were going to give us for Noah because that was their first grandchild. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, and the hard times came, it was just like, oh my gosh, and then at first you just don't want to truly believe that it happened.
Yeah.
And then it's like, then it hits you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can't call them anymore.
Yeah.
If I have problems, if, I need advice,
Yeah.
I need anything. If I need my car looked at,
Yeah.
if I need to know how to do certain things, I can't call Mom and Dad anymore. You know what I mean? And that really hit home. Then
Yeah.
it just was like, oh my gosh.
Because we know that life is short and we know that people will die, but it's just that suddenness of it.
Yeah.
Like this is not what I was expecting
Yeah.
for this day,
Yeah.
for this week, for this month, for this to happen
Right.
in that way. Tell me, what were your mom and dad's first names?
Linda was my mom, and obviously, and Gerald was my
Linda
and then my
Gerald.
real dad was Jeff.
And Jeff. Tell me one of your favorite memories about your mom.
Oh my gosh. Christmas was my favorite memory. I mean, literally, she would have like the stick skinniest tree, but then the presents would go from the living room all the way into the dining room.
Like that corner to the table.
Yeah, it was
in the
just
floor.
ridiculous, the amount. And, Holly was never, when she got introduced, that Christmas that we got.
I mean, we dated in October and to December. She treated me just the same.
And when December came and
Holly had presents.
She went out there and Holly had enormous amount of
like,
presents
what
that she had
is
never
happening?
been witness to in her whole existence of
Yes.
life. It was just something to behold. I
Yeah.
mean, my mom loved Christmas.
she was just so full of joy. Like, I can remember her giggle, and she would giggle. Yeah. So, honestly, your mom was like one of the most joyous people.
Yeah, and it sounds like just generosity was in her.
Yeah.
What about your dad?
Some of those memories are probably
yes, very much so.
He just didn't hold back a lot of things.
He did not care. He would.
Oh, can I share a memory?
What one?
Okay, so, and I think this is okay. He was ornery, and he was a prankster, and I know he had to know I was there that day, but he thought he'd be funny anyway. And he got up from sleeping and came up the hallway butt naked, little old man rear end walking up the hallway and just laughing the whole time. And you hear his mom in the background going, "Gerald Monroe, oh my gosh." And I mean, that was one of my first memories of him. And he thought he was just so funny. I was like, oh gosh, what am I getting myself into? But he just laughed and laughed.
There was one time, I mean, he didn't mind sharing his rear end at all. I mean, we were outside, and we would have, like in Indiana, they have the Indy 500. And we would actually have, is on obviously Memorial Day. So we'd have days off, and we'd actually have people over, and we'd have a big old like get together at the house. And croquet, you guys know what croquet is? Okay, so we'd play croquet out there, and my aunt would come over, and him and her would always just like, I mean, they were always going to get. I mean, they were just like, oh my gosh, it was so funny. But she would do something to him, and he would get so mad. And there was one time where he just had it. He dropped his drawers and just mooned her, and out in the front lawn.
He was a character.
He didn't care. I mean, it was just amazing. I just, anyway.
But he would laugh.
Oh my gosh.
Because he just knew, first of all, he knew Linda was going to be like, Gerald, stop that,
Yeah, she'd get all.
Because she was very prim and proper. Like, she used proper etiquette, and he just was like,
country boy. I mean, this is how it was. Okay, we had an acre plot of land.
Oh my!
Growing up, we had a garden. We had chickens. He had a shed that was a 12 by 12, and I think an 8 by 10 or a 10 by 10 shed, and we had fenced off one side of it. Put a doggy door in there.
Yeah.
We had chickens on one side, and then he put chicken wire catty corner down in the center of that little shed, and put another doggy door, and we had peacocks on the other side.
Oh.
We had rabbits, we had pheasant on an acre.
On an acre. He
wanted to be downtown Hamilton did that one time.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, he was a farm boy that wanted to be on a big farm, but could only really wanted to be 1 acre. So, but it was just all memories growing up. I mean, we'd collect eggs, from the chickens, and it was awesome. I loved it. Yeah, pet the peacocks. I mean, it was awesome.
What's really funny to me is they had all these crazy things on 1 acre of land, but they had the nerve to call their neighbors the Clampets.
Well, they had cars, and I mean, they weren't like, they didn't keep up their yard.
Yeah.
That was their judgment on those people. We just went along with it as kids,
So Holly, who is Cam most like?
Oh, his mom for sure.
His mom for sure. Yeah. I was wondering because the bit of the practical prankster in his dad. I wondered.
Well, my mom was a prankster too.
Was she? Okay.
Oh yeah. So she had a little bit in her, but nothing like my dad took it over the top.
Her pranks were a little more sweet.
Yes.
Okay.
She thought she was being ornery, but
she wasn't.
No.
All right. So you're a lot like your mom. Thanks for telling those stories about your mom and dad.
Sorry, everyone.
That's
sorry.
Stories.
But it's real life.
I'm hoping
that's what it is.
G-rated.
We'll throw a disclaimer in the beginning. If you have small children in the car with you while you're listening.
It's just real life, people. It's just real life.
It is real life. It is real life. So you have probably past a lot of these things. So you talk about your parents being gone, way before we ever expected. But I can imagine that they are so proud of you and who you are, the son that you are, and the father that you are to your boys. I think that's one thing I love too about you guys is your family, the beautiful way that you parent your sons, I think is amazing. How do you do that?
Our house is very real.
Yeah.
If you come and you're there for any length of time, we don't hide a lot of things.
No.
It isn't a situation where if you're there for dinner that we're like under the table, like
Pinching people?
You know,
No.
it's something might get said and it might be embarrassing or I mean,
Yeah.
our
We'll
kids
apologize
might
and
have
go
an
on.
attitude and I'll just say, I'm sorry. They're not having the best day. I'm going to deal with that later.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hide who we are.
Yeah.
At all. And the kids know that. And the kids are very comfortable in the fact that when things happen, we talk about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're going to say something that might hurt a little bit or sting or whatever, but we work through it because I just don't see the point of sweeping things under the rug.
Yeah.
Well, and the fact that you guys are that you are consistent, you are the same when people are there and when people are not there. I think that consistency is what allows our kids to feel safe.
Yeah.
To be able to say things and do things. And if they say something they're not supposed to say, well, guess what? We're a safe place to
Yes.
let's talk about it.
I mean, it doesn't mean I don't ever cringe. Some days I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
my
God.
Oh, no,
gosh.
trust me. Right now. Yes, right now. You and I both have sons that are seniors in high school.
Yes. And some days I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing to navigate with, back to your question, with the kids itself is friendships. Trying to navigate, their seriousness with the friends and trying to navigate, like loyalty with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, teaching
'Cause
them that.
There's a lot of times when you say you're friends with somebody, and this is the difference between, I believe the difference between us and a lot of other people is that when we literally say that we love you,
We mean we love
we mean
you.
we love you.
And we don't say it until we mean it.
Yeah, right. And if, we tell you we are friends, we're friends. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not something that's going to go away. It's something that is just I feel like it's a lifelong thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And I think teenagers don't understand that.
And that's something that we're trying to instill in the boys to be able to kind of navigate that, to be able to realize, okay, people's emotions, essentially, that's what friendship is all about. You know what I mean? And trying to navigate that between teenage boys to realize that literally real life happens when you are friends with one another. And that, I don't know, to make that friendship a serious friendship rather than just, oh yeah, we're friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Be intentional
Right,
about it.
exactly.
It's kind of like with Instagram where you have
Yes.
3,000 followers.
Yeah.
Not all those people are your friends.
Right.
And so we try to just teach them, like, don't take for granted people that invest in you
Yes.
and
Yeah.
want to be a part of your life. Because a face-to-face friend is way more valuable than how many likes you got on that post.
Absolutely.
And those people aren't all your friends.
Yeah.
Right.
And they aren't investing and praying over your life.
Right.
And I want them to know the value of having people in your circle that are actually on your team,
Right.
Right.
want to see success, want to see good things. And when you're having a hard time, they're going to
Lift you
believe with you for good
Yeah.
things and pray for you.
And when you're intentional with that, you may only have one, you may have three, you may have none for a season. And that is okay if you are intentional about guarding who is in that inner circle with you.
Yeah.
I used to tell my kids, it's better to have no friends
Yes.
Yes,
than to have the wrong friends.
Right.
that's right.
I mean, it's better to have no best friend than one best friend that just is the wrong
Yes.
wrong voice of influence.
So we have one of the boys that are just friends with everybody, and we have one of
One
them that
that's
doesn't
super
want to have friends with
protective.
everybody.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
very, he wants to be like drawn back as much as he can be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until he wants to be
Yeah.
out there, you know what I mean? So,
But I think too, people throw, oh, that's my BFF, that's my BFF around. I mean, I see the same person every time somebody has a birthday. Oh, it's my BFF's birthday. And I'm like, that really means something.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think me as a person, I just don't ever want someone to feel like they're my BFF for now
Yeah.
or for today.
Yeah.
Number one, he is my best friend.
Yes.
And I'm not putting anyone before him. But number two, I just want people to realize if I'm your friend, I value you.
Yes.
And I love you. And I
Yes.
will do whatever I can to be on your side.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
And I think the older we get, we realize that those friendships are not necessarily things that have to be facilitated daily. Like
Right.
they are a true covenant relationship means I may not get to talk to you for a month, but when you need me, I'm
Yes.
here.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
And if you need anything, you can talk to me or ask me to do whatever, and I'm going to do that for you. And then when we get together, we can just pick right back because there's just life.
yes.
That's
There's
exactly
just life and work and kids and holidays and all of these things that go on. And we cannot have our feelings hurt if we don't get to talk to each other
That's
for
right.
a while.
That's exactly
So
right.
what does your family do for fun?
Currently, we are really into playing dice.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's just something we can all sit at the table and do. And it's fun and we laugh and have fun with that. So I want to say for
easy to
3
learn.
weekends in a row, we haven't left the house.
Yeah, we've been playing
Just
dice.
playing dice.
That's how I'm playing dice. So we cook, we eat.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. We like all those
We
things.
love to cook and love to eat.
And I mean, we're not real. I don't really personally think we need a lot of extra entertainment.
No.
Yeah, we just act stupid together a lot.
The boys love gaming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
movies.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it also. I enjoy, being a part of that with them.
Yeah.
Holly doesn't like it that much. She says, "Why is there a 42-year-old playing video games?" And I explained to her, it's my bonding time
You're
with the
having
boys.
quality time
Yes,
with your
exactly.
kids.
Whether it is or
Fair.
not, it is
Yeah, it's
bonding
fair, it's
time.
fair.
Yes.
So,
Matt and Emily
but it's-
Peoples talked about
Yes, they did.
Legos with their kids, that they love the Legos almost more than their kids do.
Yeah, it's true.
I appreciate y'all coming and telling us your story. I will never forget that you signed his yearbook in third grade and didn't remember.
If I can find it, I'll send you a picture of it.
That's hilarious. I love that story. What a story. Although Cameron and Holly's marriage has had more than its share of difficulty, their commitment to each other and their understanding of covenant has kept them together. Not only together, but more in love than ever before. We mentioned that this is Holly's second time on the podcast, so if you didn't catch the first episode, you can take a listen to episode 15, where Holly and I talk a little bit more about her journey with infertility and depression. If you want to get connected on social media, we've got a Facebook page for the podcast you can go like called What's Next God Podcast. Or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook under the name Melissa Matheson. That's math, like 4 + 1 = 5, I before E, son, S-O-N, as in my 17-year-old son who is turning 18 years old on Saturday. So friends, unfortunately, this is officially the last time my 17-year-old son will be mentioned in these podcast closings. Well, we're here on Monday and Wednesday each week. If you want to join us, subscribe to the podcast, and you'll be the first to know when the conversation gets started. Our podcast community here is simply the best, and we'd love for you to be a part. I'm saving you a seat for Monday, so come join us as we sit around the table, have a cup of coffee, and talk about what's next, God.